Established in 2008 as a joint venture between the Agency for Science, Technology and Research and the National University of Singapore, the Clinical Imaging Research Centre, or CIRC, has been located at the NUS Centre for Translational Medicine since November 2011. The mission of CIRC is to foster relationships between basic scientists and clinicians for translational research in the imaging of human subjects and for investigators to have access to state-of-the-art imaging instrumentation such as PET-MR, PET-CT and 3T MRI. Access to standard and novel radiopharmaceuticals for positron emission tomography, or PET, imaging is provided by a fully equipped radiopharmacy that comprises a medical cyclotron, hot cells, synthesis modules, and a quality control laboratory. A dedicated team of over 50 physicists, chemists, engineers, image analysts, computer specialists, nurses, radiographers, and administrative personnel provide the operational and academic support for the center. Recognizing the contributions of patients in taking time and effort to participate in CIRC research, patient comfort is a top priority. From the moment patients give their consent, they are kept fully informed every step of the way. Patients undergoing PET studies will be administered a radioactive compound intravenously injected by a radiographer. Depending upon the type of study, the imaging protocol may involve combined imaging of the injected PET compound and MRI, or PET and CT.
Heart attacks are very common. It's probably the single most common reason for people to get sick and to die in middle age or older in Singapore and almost anywhere in the world. And we're interested in what it is that lets some people survive a heart attack and what makes others get more and more scarring and damage to their heart over time and then eventually become sick and die with heart failure. And we think that it's possible that certain methods of imaging the heart that CIRC can provide will help us be much better at predicting who is going to suffer and who's going to do well and help us pick out those that need special attention and more aggressive treatment.
For patients with active tuberculosis, they are first placed in an isolation chamber before being moved into the scanner.
During the infectious period of TB and started doing some of these PET-MR scans, and actually it was quite astonishing what we saw on these scans compared to the old chest x-ray. The things which were hardly visible on the x-ray just lit up on a PET-MR. So this looks like a fantastic tool which we're now starting to apply in following the response of people to treatment.
CIRC produces its own radioactive compounds or radiopharmaceuticals for PET imaging. The radioactive tag is produced in a cyclotron by bombarding a target with protons. The radioactivity from the bombardment is pumped from the target into a hot cell containing a synthesis unit to radio-label the compound for injection. Once the compound has been labeled, samples are taken for quality control. The radiopharmaceutical is then transported from the radiopharmacy to the patient, ready for injection by the radiographer.
I think that CIRC is now progressing to doing other forms of imaging which are also very important to us, such as molecular imaging of the brain.
PET images may be combined with CT in the combined PET-CT scanner. If only MR images are required, the patient will be scanned in one of CIRC's two 3 Tesla MRI scanners. The images may be viewed subsequently on any of CIRC's image processing workstations.
The benefits to patients will be longer term, but the idea is of doing this research we find better ways of developing new drugs, and so maybe in 5–10 years time we have some new drugs that can be tested using this approach, and then they can be licensed for clinical use, and that will then benefit many thousands or millions of people across the world if we can find better treatments.
The patients who volunteer for studies at CIRC will present with a range of different pathologies in neurology, cardiology, oncology, infectious and metabolic diseases. With over 50 active clinical projects in collaboration with institutions throughout Singapore, CIRC participates in a broad range of projects of particular emphasis to Singapore, with investigators from both academia and industry. Collaborations with overseas investigators are also being formed with organizations such as Gyeongsang University in South Korea, University College London, Johns Hopkins University in the United States, and Massey University in New Zealand. With such outstanding imaging and radiopharmacy facilities, dedicated staff, and wide-ranging collaborations involving the clinical community within Singapore and beyond, CIRC is well placed to meet its mission as a national center for imaging human subjects, stimulating translational research and to foster and enhance the relations between basic scientists and the clinical community.
The sort of work that we do here at CIRC is centered on the patient. The purpose is to look at different new types of therapies, new types of treatments that can then be translated ultimately into the clinic and become routine treatments for those type of diseases. We should remember that the research that we do today will be the clinical routine of tomorrow.